My name is Dan Dorval, and I'm President and CEO of Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. I am an independent certified financial planner and author of my book, Financial Success for the Rest of Us, Reality-Based Financial Planning for Mainstream America.
Hi, my name is Leah Woodley. I'm an associate financial advisor with Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. Our conversations discuss what it means to do quality of life planning in all areas of your life. Dan, it kind of seems like we're living in a day and age where you kind of have to expect the unexpected. So many catastrophic events have happened over the past few years, even currently, and it can really be quite devastating. Some things you can't prepare for. People losing their house to a fire, that's something that you can't necessarily prepare for. However, I do think that it is important to have some things in place in the event that something does happen. And I just wanted to talk about financial preparedness today. So, just for our viewers' knowledge, there is a site called ready.gov where it's sponsored by our government, obviously, and it shows you how to prepare for a variety of different types of disasters. And they also have a financial preparedness worksheet that you can go through and kind of get your ducks in order. And some things they highlight on there are having emergency reserves. So that's something that we always talk about. Is there anything that you want to talk about when it comes to having emergency reserves?
Well, I say to lots of people, we love cash. I
Mhm.
mean, cash is a beautiful thing. We live in an uncertain world. When you go through inevitable storms, cash helps you navigate through those storms. So it's not always sexy to have money sitting in your checking or your savings. You might not be earning the most interest. But from a planning perspective, based on quality of life, if I suffer any sort of very challenging situation and I can just pay for it and move
Mhm.
on with my day, I don't sit and, have to stew about the stress and the anxiety that not only have I suffered this catastrophic issue, but now that suffering just continues in a financial way. So, you know, losing your house is a little different story because I might have cash, but I just lost such a foundational element of my life. So my entire quality of life has been thrown up in the air, especially if I have children. Now we're living in maybe temporary housing while we try to figure this all out. Then it becomes critically important to have insurance.
Yes. And that is one of the things that they highlight as well is making sure you have the proper insurance coverage. So obviously, if you're a homeowner, you want to have home insurance. Um, as well as making sure you have enough insurance coverage. So that is important as well. So I think it's always good to review your insurance documents. Typically insurance is updated every year or sometimes more frequently, but you want to make sure that you're reviewing that to make sure that you have enough coverage. When it comes to your home, you want to make sure that you have enough to cover the replacement value of your home, and that is very, very important. You don't want to be underinsured and something happens and you don't have enough to do what you need to do to recover. So that is definitely something to have in place. Also, when it comes back to emergency reserves, it is good to have just some cash on hand as well. You never know what may happen or what you will need to do. So it's good to have some cash on hand. Another thing is just having an emergency plan in place. And this isn't necessarily financial, but being able to know if your family needs to meet up, know where you want to meet up, and just what you would do in that situation if an emergency were to occur. One other important thing is to keep your important documents safe. Um, my mother made me purchase this a while ago, but it's like a fireproof bag. So I have all our important documents in here. If something were to happen, hopefully they would be protected. Now, if a flood came through Maryland and this floats away. There's nothing I can do about that. But but I'm good for a fire. So you want to have your important records in a safe place. So that may be putting your life insurance policy in there, your home insurance policies in there, passports, things like that. Just having those in a safe and secure place. Anything you want to add to that point?
Well, like the documents you're talking about too, in most cases, you're going to want to have a backup somewhere else. Whether
Yes.
that's, for today's world, most of the time that means online somewhere. You would need to have a secure portal of some type where, if my house burns down and, the fireproof folder that you have was not capable of preventing it from getting, it got so hot that it actually still incinerated the documents, you want to be able to have
Mhm.
access to that. So in many cases, your advisors will have copies of some of the
Yes.
important documents, like an estate plan, things like that. But as far as preparation, when I was a kid, they would always walk us through like your house. If your house was burning down, what would you actually do? Because
Yes.
if if you're in a fire and you notice something like that, that's not when you want to be thinking about what should I
Right.
be doing. You want to know, and they would tell you to practice. Okay, if you're in an upper level, how would you get out, and where would your family meet in order to know is everybody out? You know,
Mhm.
emergency preparedness. It's one of those things a lot of times we can take for granted
Yeah.
because what are the odds it's going to happen to me?
Right.
And if it does, hopefully it just all works out.
Yeah.
But in many cases, by making just a handful of decisions and taking some actions that are relatively simple ahead of time, if you ever are in a situation where you've had kind of a catastrophic event, at least you can again navigate through that as best you can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. One other thing is going through your home and just taking pictures and video periodically, and this may be once per year, just to know what you have in the event that you do need to replace something. You'll have that documented for reference. And if you are somebody who is in the midst of an emergency situation, a catastrophic event, you do want to make sure that you communicate with any lenders that you have, your mortgage company, things like that. I know that's something that in the moment you're not going to be thinking about, but that is good to communicate that just so there is an awareness of what's going on. And also, look at disasterassistance.gov because you may be eligible for some support financially. It may be getting hotel access or things like that. That support is available in some situations, and updates are made to disasterassistance.gov periodically. Well, our thoughts are out to everyone who is experiencing challenging times right now, and we wish for all the best for you. And is there anything else you want to add, Dan?
One thing that I did have happen with a family member whose house did burn down
Hmm.
is be very careful about just automatically accepting whatever the insurance company basically is offers to give you,
Yeah.
because in his situation it would have not even come close to replacing what they had,
Mm,
and he ended up getting a referral. There are apparently people out there, I don't know these people specifically, but there are people out there that their job is to negotiate on your behalf with insurance companies in order
mm.
to get what you're actually due for replacement cost, or whatever happens to be. And in his case, he hired this person. They came out, took a full inventory, full interview, then negotiated with the insurance company, and for their benefit it was a couple $100,000 more,
Wow.
which was enormously impactful on their ability to actually replace what they had before the fires. So, be careful whether it's a car accident, whether it's a house issue, whatever it is, You want to question, don't just accept whatever the insurance company says. If it doesn't make sense to you, take your time, try to get help, and figure out if it's appropriate.
That is such great advice. And that's something I wasn't aware of that was out there. So that's good to know. And one last thing I do want to add is just to be cautious of scams. Unfortunately, there are some people that are very, evil out here and prey on people that are in situations like this. So just be cautious of any scams. Um, don't give your personal identification numbers or any personal information out to just anyone. Make sure you are doing your due diligence and making sure any assistance being provided is legitimate.
I think that's great advice.
Well, until next time, thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Bye.